Okay.
So
Do we go on YouTube?
We're on YouTube.
I believe we're live on YouTube.
Where go? Are we? Maybe.
No. Yes, now we are.
Yeah, it's on a bit of a delay.
You're on a bit of a delay.
That's
Your
true.
mom's on a bit of a delay.
It's true. She went to college. All right, Julian, lead us on. What?
Oh, no. Now I need to start because it just came up on YouTube. Welcome to the Circle of Podcast where we talk about Mizzou basketball. And we lost in a terrible fashion. And I'm upset about that. Not my usual intro. Curtis, do you have power yet?
No, they're coming tomorrow to start the work. They're gonna gut these walls, baby.
So Florida doesn't believe in work. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. This is what happens, when you don't have any tax dollars going anywhere.
So guys, I
Except to
I
Medicare
attended the
fraud.
game. I attended the game.
You said you weren't, so I'd like to. I
what
want to hear the. I
happened-
want to hear the story.
so
But
what happened was that I have a friend. Her husband is a classic Kansas fan. In that he did not attend the school. He doesn't really understand basketball. At one point, he asked me, "What does it mean if a foul's on the floor?" He only pays attention when they're good. He doesn't actually know the players very well. And he only attends Kansas via graduate program on a satellite Kansas campus. So, typical Kansas fan. But he wanted to go to the game, and his wife is a Mizzou fan. She was like, "Okay, do you guys want to come with us?" So we looked at the tickets, and they're only like $100 in the top bowl. The game was not sold out, like not nearly sold out when we were there. There were a lot of empty seats. I'm surprised Gates didn't mention them the post game. So $100 tickets each. We're like, why not? How often I don't get to see the boys play live very often. They're up in my neck of the woods in Kansas City, so let's do it. And there's that small part of me as a fan that's like, what if they win and I'm there? How cool that would be. But apparently I'm freaking toxic because when I attend football games, we always win. When I go to Columbia for football games, we win. When I attend basketball games, we don't. So my last two attendings was Drake, where Dennis asked us to drive and I drove and we lost. And then this one where I'd have to drive far, but I lost. So that hurt. For the first 17 minutes of the first half, I was talking mad smack. I was the loudest in my section. The other Mizzou fans were cheering me on. It was a little embarrassing. And then one thing went wrong and the guys fell apart. And we went to the half. I went, I don't think we can come back from that. And then they opened the second half, just literal poop running down their leg. And I knew it was over. And that was very sad.
So run me through what happened there at the end of the first half, because that's like I was at the Jaguars game, and things seemed to be going okay. I was like watching the game on my phone, but then it started pouring rain. And so all of a sudden I started having to rely on like text notifications that I could see on my watch. Mm-hmm. And it all of a sudden was, oh my God, we crapped our pants to end the half.
Hey, Mike, remind me if I get this wrong. Okay. So remember to get the sequence of events wrong. So Nicholas Randall is playing because Northweather came in and immediately got bodied. And they're like, we can't play Luke Northweather right now. This is going along with a lot of things I have to say, but Luke Northweather, you have two things. You play smart, somewhat capable defense, and you shoot threes. And if you're not willing to shoot threes, why are you out there?
He hasn't done that two games in a row now.
He kept, and then he started shooting at the end of the game when it didn't matter anymore, and he made a couple. But like early in the game, he gets an open three and passes it, and I want to scream because it's like we don't have very many people hitting threes right now, so you got to shoot it while we got it. But anyway, so Nicholas Randall comes in, which is also funny. Nicholas Randall, who did not play against Notre Dame, and they feel like he's ready to go against Kansas. Anyway, he comes in, and he's good for one freshman foul a game at least. He decides to full body throw himself against a Kansas player who's trying to rebound. Kansas player gets knocked to the ground. Kind of hard, right? Kind of hard. It was not any extreme foul. It was a hard foul, but I don't think it was a flagrant foul. Of course, the Kansas players come up. They start talking smack. They get in his face. Mizzou players trying to pull him away. Ant gets right up next to gets right up to a Kansas player to like tell him to back off. Kansas player is getting kind of wrapped up, so he does the thing where he raises his arms, kind of clips Ant in the face. Ant, of course, sells it, falls back. But he gets clipped in the face. They immediately pause the game. They're like, we need to talk this over. come back. And keep in mind, in the stadium, they are not doing the thing where the ref like goes up to the mic and explains what's happening. We never know. It's just things happen. So I was texting people asking what happened. They say it's a foul on Nick. Then it was a tech on Ant, making it his third foul. That then leads to them shooting 2 free throws, which they hit. We then have the ball, and like, you know, guys are trying to act like they're like pumped, but whatever. But it's like, oh, okay, we're gonna. Then they come down. We miss. They score again. We then have the ball with it. There's 25 seconds left. There's like 26, but there's 25 on the shot clock. You know what I mean? Come down, shoot at 5 seconds left. It ricochets off. Kansas runs it down, hits a 3 at the buzzer. And all of a sudden we're down 9, something like that. All of a sudden we're down like 8 or 9. And it's like with the game was like we were up at most points. At least it was like within 2 points. All of a sudden Kansas up like 8 or 9 right at half. And the fans are just going crazy. And it's like, you just right there, we lost it. Like the game was on such a thin margin. And we just threw it away. 1 second, my dogs are gonna lose as someone's walking inside. Sorry, dogs.
Oh my god, this is gonna be the first live burglary on during the Circle Up podcast.
But I am honestly, I am as someone who tries to stay pretty level-headed about these things, it was just embarrassing on a lot of levels. We could talk both about big picture construction of the roster. We could talk about minutiae of the game. We could talk about the players' actual actions, but I just ranted about that section. So let's do what we usually do. We start kind of big picture of the game and then work through specific things that we saw and what we think it led to. Mike, what's some big picture thoughts you have of the game?
Where to begin? I would say this game makes me question some of the analytics, and I'm an analytic truther, but
Which ones?
Some of them. I know some guys out there have Mizzou offense and defense way down. There's others that are still, semi hopeful. Not an effective offense. I was quasi optimistic about that game, to be frank.
I was optimistic too.
I thought the number.
Sorry,
I thought the number, from a betting side, just was getting too high. Got bet down from 6.5 to 5.5, and I'm like, okay, little money coming in. They think it's that 6, 7, 8 point game, and then the first couple minutes when it was like 8-1 or 9-1 or something like that. I just was like, fiddlesticks, here we go again. And then
they bounced back.
And then we bounced back. So it's like, okay, here's that offense. Let's go on that run. And it seemed like when we were pushing it, and this will probably this will probably be a common thread by me all year, is like when we're pushing it, like this KU team is good, but I don't think they're great. So this was maybe another manageable type of win, but to get blown out by 20, I was ready to jump off the columns myself.
Yeah. Good luck getting up there. I mean, the crazy thing is that Mizzou had the lead at the under 4 timeout in the first half. And then it snowballed. And then it all fell apart. Yeah, and so Julian, I think they were down 8 at the end of the half.
Is it just me, but when a team hits, when it's like the rivalry game or big game, whatever it is, word vomit right now.
We're all upset. We understand.
And a team hits like that big 3, buzzer beater at half, I just felt like that's game.
It's worth more. It feels like it's worth more than 3.
And I don't believe in like, momentum shifts.
You're a numbers guy.
But just part of me was like, damn, that is just such a dagger.
How could you feel any different going to the locker room? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just try to put yourselves in the heads of the guys. And what Julian was talking about with the scrap that happened, the tech or flagrant rather.
Just going completely against Missouri. And in fact, after that, it was like the refs decided, we're done calling fouls on Mizzou.
So now, okay, now no, like yeah, okay, no, cool. Kansas is good. Kansas is supposed to win. Kansas is gonna win. Yeah, I don't know. Which I feel like we see a lot in college basketball of like at a certain point the refs just kind of like feeling like they know how the game's supposed to end, and then they just kind of start. I'm not saying that's why Mizzou lost by any means. I mean they got whooped there in the second half, but Julian, what I was gonna say rather than the refs was just the little scrap, and then to Mike's point about the 3 at the end of the half, those are just things that like experience and just like gutsiness, like that's not a word, but you know what I mean. Like,
yeah.
there are ways that you can bounce back from those things, and you need good leadership among others to try to do it. And I think just Kansas, I mean, obviously the call like went their way in that first example, but it just felt like when I watched it back, like they responded better. Mizzou didn't really have an answer. It was like, man, well, we're getting screwed now. You know, whatever.
Well, that and you're forcing guys to step up who really, really would have to step up.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that the way our roster is right now, and we're not going to beat to death all that stuff, but
I might.
I mean, I have 6 takes that I'll give you at the end. But when you're in these types of games, and I timestamp me from the previous episode that it's going to force our 3, 4, 5, 6 guys to really step up and play, and I just don't know if Northweather's not that guy, like a big body. You can't take the size away from him, obviously. He's there for, the effectiveness of being a big, wide body. But he's not going to get you those 10, 12, maybe a 15-point game that you need from your big. Phillips sure as hell ain't going to give you that. I think there's flashes of it. But I just don't think that that's it. And then you're going to force, Mac coming in off of Ant's 4th foul.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're throwing him. You can't even fault Mac. I think it was a partial swing and miss on the portal there, but you're basically throwing him into a very high leverage game where the ceiling is high and the floor is not that low. The margin for error is just not there.
We're tossing guys into situations that they're not really built for. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like if this is what we talked about after the Notre Dame game, it's one of those things where if plan A fails, I don't have a heck of a lot of faith that we have a plan B that can work right now. I hope that we can figure that out as the season goes on, but right now that's my take.
Yeah.
And I'd say that, it sucks that Stone is out, who's a really good shooter. It sucks that Pierce is out, who's supposed to be another release valve shooter. That means we have a lot of non-shooters on the floor. But it also kind of speaks to the roster construction where they went to the portal knowing who they have, right? Or knowing what they needed. We know Mark Mitchell's our best player. Okay, so we need to build a roster that can shoot. Because Mark Mitchell can't, even though we want him to shoot, sure, but he can't. He's not a good three-point shooter. Great. So, man, if we get a team that is full of shooters, then Mark Mitchell can really work on offense and unlock the part of his game which he really needs to, which is his playmaking. Let's get Mac, who has never been known to be a shooter, and we have to fix his jump shot, whose main game is driving and pick and roll, off pick and roll. Let's go get Stone. Great, that worked. Let's go get Phillips, as defensive presence, but also a ball stopper. Let's try to feed him a bunch. Let's try to make him a focal point in the offense. Let's go get Porter, we want him to be a shooter, but has he shown he can be? No.
He's a Porter.
He's a Porter.
That's as far as we thought on that one. But
we still have Boat and Barrett, who are not really known as shooters. Man, I hope we can shoot. It's
this scoring line is
disgusting.
It was bad against Notre Dame. Remember, we had two guys over 6 points, right? Is that right?
Okay. Yeah, you ready for this? Robinson, and this is for our audio listeners. Here's the final box score. of the 80-60 game.
Do the starting five. This is the starting five now first.
Want me to
Yeah.
do starting five first? Okay.
Starting five first.
So they started Bear, and here's another thing we talked about. I don't want to see that jumbo lineup. I'm trying really hard not to curse the jumbo lineup. They go great. Let's take out Mac and put in Boat, which is like I'm actually fine with that in a sense because Boat's been playing great. He's much more athletic. He's a better like we thought Mac was supposed to be a good defender, but Boat's been a better defender so far. But that doesn't fix the issue that Porter, Phillips, and Mark have not been good this entire season. And I sent you guys that picture. Like, if you guys want to really get the data, like the good data about this team, follow Matt Harris on Twitter from Rock M. Just the basic plus minus of our starting five is awful. It is awful. And yet we continue to force it and put ourselves at a disadvantage at the beginning of every game. And the beginning of every half, it blows my freaking mind. But anyway, so the starting five. Robinson, 5 points, 1 of 6 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3, 2 of 4 from free throw. He has 6 assists, 7 rebounds, 4 personal fouls with a tech, and 3 turnovers. So he didn't turn it over a crazy amount, but 6 assists, 7 rebounds, but 1 of 5 from 3, 5 points. That ain't gonna cut it.
No. And this is not the starting five. I think this is who ended the game on the floor. By the way, the graphic that's up.
Yeah,
right now.
The graphic is who. So I'm not reading that one.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, gotcha.
The starting five. That was Robinson. Oh, also keep in mind
Robinson started though.
29 minute split, which is like we want him usually more in the high mid low 30s.
But 4 fouls.
But the fouls really hurt him, and he got a third at the end of the first half. Boat, 2 points, 1 of 7 shooting, 0 from 3 point, 6 rebounds, 2 fouls, 1 turnover. Played great defense, played only 19 minutes because when he wasn't hitting threes, it was hard to keep him out there. And he kept missing bunnies
When he
too.
wasn't shooting, he didn't hit a three, Julian.
Multiple times when he was in the paint, he'd get the ball and just miss a layup, miss a bunny. And he wasn't getting foul. He wasn't pulling fouls either because Kansas plays solid defense. And they weren't getting fouls called on them, which sucks. But like you have to recognize what's happening in the game. Like as a player, when you realize what the refs are doing, like our entire offensive, we can't rely completely on offense on getting 20 fouls a game every time we drive and crew is going ballistic. Like that can't be the game plan. Anyway, so that was Boat. Porter, 4 points, 1 of 5 from field goal range, 1 of 4 from 3, 1 of 2 from free throw, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 0 fouls, 0 turnovers. You know, I'm actually mad about the 0 fouls. At least getting some guy. But
honestly, I agree with you. I didn't think I would, but I do.
Because once again, 16 minutes. That shows that he started playing because this has happened every important game. He starts playing, coach said goes, he doesn't have it, and they pull him. Why is he starting? This is what they did with Boat last year, and then they finally realized, we just got to stop doing this. I think Porter's confidence is shot at this point. Like, also, they even ran plays that they ran for Cruz. There's one play where Porter ran through multiple picks to get a shot at the top of the key, shot a 3, pointed. I'm like, that's a Cruz play. Why are they running this for him? After he's missed his first 2 3-pointers. Like, mind blown. When there's a moment when in the second half where we cut it to like 12, and it's like we really need to score on this next play to pull it within 10, kind of make them sweat. They ran a play for Phillips, and he missed. Anyway, so
no, it's hard to find anything in this. You know what I mean? Like pretty much just everything that happened in the last like 25 minutes.
Sean Phillips, bad. 7 points, 3 of 6 from field goal. Okay, 50%. At Bunnies.
Needs more than 4
one of 2 from free throw, so he's not pulling fouls. 4 rebounds.
Only played 20 minutes, but still, I still
3 fouls, 2 turnovers, 20 minutes. 4 rebounds. Look, Phillips's role on offense should be he is pulling down rebounds or he's getting good passes off drives. I am so tired of trying to play this high-low game with him. It grinds the offense to a halt. When he misses, it often leads to the other team just running out on transition because he can't get there in time to defend. And and like he's not even playing in a way that's drawing fouls. He's doing hook shots. So he's not even pulling fouls when he's playing offense. And then lastly, Mitchell, 21 points, 7 of 15 from field goal, 1 of 3 from 3, 6 of 11 from free throws. That's one of his worst free throw shootings in a long time. 7 rebounds, 1 assist, only 1 foul,
not that long.
3 turnovers. He played 32 minutes.
It's been like 2 weeks since he shot 55% from the line. Yeah.
Mitchell made some hard shots. He played his ass off. he tried. But in the second half, they basically said, you know what? I think Mitchell's the only guy who can hit a shot right now.
Julian,
At
let
that
me
point,
just go ahead and clip that right now, and we're going to use that again a few times throughout the year.
Cruz can't. Cruz one. They like my friend who's a Kansas fan at one point goes, "Is Cruz hurt? Why aren't they playing him right now?" Because they did not play him in the first half till like the 12-minute mark, something like that, 11-minute mark, and then he didn't even play for that
minutes.
long.
I mean,
but he played a lot in the second half after the game was out of reach.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
Also,
it made no sense.
He didn't start hitting shots until the game was out of reach. 3 of 7 from 3, 4 of
He
10
didn't really
from-
take that many shots until
Well, then he got
because he didn't have
passive.
many opportunities.
Once again, these people are getting passive. They're playing scared. Rest of the team, 0 from Nicholas Rendell. He didn't shoot. Luke Northweather, 1 of 4 from 3-point. He only shot 3-pointers. 3 points, 13 minutes. 3 fouls, 1 rebound from Northweather in 13 minutes. Burns, they let him have 2 pity minutes. Which I'm like, when the game's going bad, it's like, why not give him some run? Why not? What do we have to lose at this point? Because him playing better,
What's
him
the point of
getting
that
minutes,
2 minutes? You know what I mean?
and playing better would actually be really big for the team. Would actually be really big. Yeah, Glenn. The first 15 minutes, everything looked good in the first 15 minutes. But the problem is that once this team is not built to come back. Last year's team, you could come back because you could get Bates hitting shots, you could get Grill hitting shots,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden we're back in the game. We don't have that in this year's team because right now Ant is a nothing burger and everything's on Cruz until Stone comes back.
So is the Cruz usage similar to like with Grill last year? Grill was a 6th man.
Yes.
They would
But
kind
he
of get into the
first.
flow of the game,
Cruz
see
didn't
what
come
kind
in
of
first.
defenses they were running, and he'd come out and then he'd start firing. But Cruz didn't get in until, like you said, like 12 minutes.
They need to start Cruz.
12-minute mark.
I'm
of the
so
first half,
tired
yeah.
of this. They need to start Cruz.
I agree. At this point, that Cruz is not Caleb Grill. It's different. Just put your best 5.
But what it honestly felt like was once they got down and they came out, they went, "How are we going to come back?" Because you know what wasn't happening, which we've talked about again. They weren't getting steals.
Yeah.
They weren't getting steals.
When you can't get steals, you can't get stops.
We ended up
you
with
can't get
5
buckets.
steals or 6 steals, and that was, I think, most of them in the second half. Kansas played super solid. There's some things that could have been called, but like
There always will be.
but like they weren't getting steals. And Kansas got stopped playing straight up defense. What do? They don't steal, but like they were playing smart and it worked, and our offense got into a haul, and theirs pumped up because you want to talk about the other side of the coin? Oh, Barrett also 4 points. Barrett played pretty good. He had to play backup point guard and then play main guard for a long time. I thought he did all right. I wish he could shoot.
It was fine. Yeah.
Kansas, White, 20 points, 3 of 5 from 3-pointer, 7-8 from free throw. Badunga, who we actually stopped Badunga. He got 2 fouls. He didn't play well. 10 points. Tiller, 13 points, 4 or 5 from field goal range from the field. Peterson, 17 points. Held it like 6 of 14. He wasn't shooting amazing. 3 of 9 from 3-point. But just much more spread out scoring for them. That Peterson guy. Peterson,
man, getting Peterson back was huge for them.
Is what I hope Crow plays like next year because he was hitting some crazy stuff.
I mean, he's a stud.
But
I was hoping he'd be a little more rusty, and nope, not at all. Just when you said Kansas White, correct. All right, let's just go back to that. Yeah, man,
So,
they played well.
I wonder if you had a full health Pierce, if you have a full health Stone, is this game completely different? Maybe not. I bet it'd be closer, but like there's something broken about the offense right now. And some people are arguing, well, it's just the lack of shooting, but like it's more than that too. Like if you're gonna have this lack of shooting as a staff, what do you do to adjust to make it work? And the adjustments aren't happening. Or the guys aren't coached enough to adjust to it well enough. And so
well, everyone we talked to said the same. Like, I mean, aside from ourselves, obviously, we can see what's happening to our dumb brains. Mm-hmm. But when we talked to Drew King, that was his concern, right? When I talked to Natalie Jones, that's her concern. This is the exact worry that everyone had about this team. And this is kind of the perfect example of what happens, including part of the Notre Dame game. Basically, like the second half of the Notre Dame game, second half of the KU game. We did not see anything that kind of like crushed the rumors that we were feeling. You're a coach yourself. What do you do here, man?
A lot of up and downs. I'm kidding. We don't run, or do we?
Parents complain. This whole thing.
No. It's not even I guess for me, and it's just, let's just call it what it is. It's a systemic problem, not a player thing. We are asking players who, the way our offense is run, the critiques on the motion offense, this NBA style flow, whatever the heck you and Gates or whoever wants to call it. You're banking on Cruz, who is good offensively. Not gonna take anything away from him, but you're basically banking on him to have 5 or 6 threes a night at the end of the day. Like, just you have the pencil. Yeah. And if not, it's it's who's next in line, and so yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's obviously was a frustrating game, and where do you go from here? Like, my biggest takeaway as I was watching, and toward the last couple minutes of, I could just spit. I was so angry. Was where the heck was Gates getting? He wants to shoot 800 threes this year. Like,
well,
just
if you
straight.
Look at Stone and Pierce, you can kind of see it.
Kind of. But like
Porter.
I mean, maybe. Like,
I think this is actually. I'm gonna let you finish, Mike. But like, something that's been brewing is like, I think the reason people get so frustrated is that we hear all these things and then they don't play out. We're so deep, none of our depth can do anything.
No.
We're gonna shoot threes like crazy. No one's shooting, and when they are, it's bad.
And I just couldn't help but think, like, of doing like the math in my head and what we had talked about a couple, maybe half dozen episodes ago or whatever, about like, we need to shoot 28, 31 threes a game or whatever to stay on that pace. And I think we're trending like just under that. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but it's like, do you want to shoot 30 threes a game and hit 7 or 8 of them? Like, I don't know. Like, that's,
I mean, with the offense we ran in the second half,
you have to
yesterday, then like, is it any worse?
You know how many times Ant or Mark would drive into the lane? They double team immediately. They would skip it to someone who was open. That person would go, I gotta drive this.
It was like open-ish, right? It's that like kind of like, like if you've got a guy who's feeling it, they're shooting it, they're popping it.
Or if you're gonna drive in, you gotta drive in hard and like
drive with purpose. We drive. It feels like we drive without a purpose a lot of the time.
You just got to get to the lane, or get to the free throw line. We'll shoot 50%.
So,
like,
some things I would love to see, and but when I'm talking about like adjustments, where it's like, okay, we can't shoot. Okay, we really want to do this double big. Cool. How about we do a Sean Phillips, Mark Mitchell interior pick and roll? Like, Mark gets it at the like inside the arc. Phillips comes over, sets a quick screen. Mark can then lob it for Phillips. Mark can dive in. There's like playing to your strengths. Something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, get those legs up, Mike. Get cozy.
But like, I'm cozy.
Because like, here's the thing. I really wanted to watch Ant this game. Some of the things are not his fault because some of it is shooting and they're going to double him every time he comes off. But he's not hitting.
No. Well, I don't remember if it was amongst you guys or someone else I was texting that. I think it was you guys. Everyone knows, any team that we're playing knows that the offense is going to flow through Ant. So pick them up, if you're in a high pressure zone, some type of scramble trap, double team that, cut off the passing lanes. And then you're basically saying, hey, Cruz, Porter, Northweather, Mac, Boat, Barrett, we'll let you guys shoot all day long.
Yep.
You guys beat us. Like,
because that's what I mean. Like last year's starting five: Kamar Bates, shooter; Mark Mitchell, Tony Perkins could reliably shoot or at least do something with it. Trent Pierce can shoot. Anthony Robinson. That is so much better because you know what they did after Illinois, they dropped the starting Gray, and they went, let's start a lineup that actually, wins games. And then we start the season doing the exact same thing again.
Yeah. I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was necessarily just like that they were all shooters. I think there's like it's a little more nuanced than that, but I see what you mean. It was all guys that can move around and kind of create a little bit of chaos, and not the like meaningless motion that we've been talking about. Like like Perkins, I consider like actually more of a driver than a shooter. But
For can I do 2 minutes, Julian?
Yep.
before-
I will stop interrupting you. Please go.
All right. My other takeaway, when you look at the roster construction and just look at the pure raw rank of each player on our team right now after Sunday, December 7th, 2025, of all the D1 players that are out there, we have 2 top 100 players. Mitchell, 64, rightfully so. Ant, 67. And almost each week has just slowly ticked down because he was like 22, 23, 24 at the beginning of the season.
that was never sustainable. But continue.
No, but like the potential was there. He was on the cusp. And that's my segue or I'll save my 6 points for later. After that, it falls off a cliff. I'm going to look at my notes that I did on Sunday. Cruz, 352. Stone, we're going to put an asterisk at 388. That I think will tick up. Porter, 424. Northweather, 843. So talk about a drastic drop from your top 2 to your 3, 4, and 5. And then your next best guy is 800.
Yeah, when you drop down to 6'7".
6'7", baby. And then you go Mac, 898, Boat, 1270, Barrett, 1361, Phillips, 1563. I understand I'm throwing a lot of Fugazi numbers out there right now, but when you look at that holistically, now my level of expectations is much more tempered. And again, I don't know if it's a drastic overreaction, but at least helps me like, okay, well, we're asking a lot of the players that we are putting into these situations, and sometimes I don't want to get into is it fair, is it not, or whatever. But
I don't think we're putting them in especially these last the second half of both these last games. I think it's fair to say we are not putting our players in positions to succeed. We're putting them in situations where we're asking guys who are not necessarily capable of like pulling us out of a rut against a team as talented as Kansas. And we're just like, all right, figure it out. Because the other guys weren't. It's like
there's just such a drastic, I don't know, such a drastic drop off. Mm-hmm. And it makes you like, again, I don't know, just because this is our team, this is who we follow, who we love or whatever. But like my number one question was like, were expectations too high? Like it makes me question like, okay, what was missed? Like, I don't know. That's just how I holistically can look at it. And
So
what do you mean by that? Well, go ahead, Julian.
No, Mike, go for it.
Like we knew who Mitchell and Ant were. Like we knew they were our key pieces, but then when you're looking at Cruz, who would have to drastically step up, not just in offense, but also make a meaningful impact on defense, that goes both ways. And then Stone, who I think everyone is rightfully high on. And then Pierce, like, I think these conversations may be a little different. I don't think we beat Kansas with those 2 guys in, because I don't think we have the rest of the roster pieces to, step up. But
if you make it a competitive game, who knows what happens? And so that's where, like, I don't know, Stone's like experience, and I don't know. He's one of those guys where I was talking about with like when you have those moments in a game that feel like they change everything, like the 3 at the end of the half or the flagrant foul or whatever. And again, there are moments that feel like you can't quantify them just in how many points it was worth. It's like it's how you respond to those. It feels like it sparks a run. Stone's a guy I would have liked to have there, and who knows what happens after that. But so you're saying like the construction is like what was overrated, the roster that they put around.
I think
our
so.
studs.
Looking at it from like just the pure analytic lens of like, okay, how many, a top 25, offense, and then the defense was, petering around the 30s, 40s, or whatever, 50s. And then, everyone seems to be like, oh, yeah, like Mizzou's a top 30 team, which I think when we're on.
It's our ceiling, probably.
Yeah. But I don't know. Like, I just think maybe it's just because I was fussy after these past two games.
You're a little fussy, baby. I think here's the stark comparison. You ready? So I just pulled up the Alabama Mizzou game from last year, which was the peak of the type of basketball Gates wants to play. Starting lineup, as I said, Tony Perkins, Anthony Robinson, Bates, Mark Mitchell, Trent Pierce. I'm going to describe the play to you because this is just exactly what we can't run right now. Ant has it, top of the key, dribbles up. Floor is completely spaced. No one's interior right now. No one's interior. Mark's at the top of the key as well. Mark's going to set a screen. Ant's going to go through the screen. No one can step up and help him. So Ant is still individual. Trent tries to run. Not Trent. Bates goes in, sets a pick for Mark to dive the lane. Doesn't quite work. Ant pulls it out, gives it to Trent Pierce. No one can help off their man. No one can help off their man. Trent Pierce dribbles top of the key, gives it back to Mark. Mark decides he wants to drive, does a little pick for Bates. Bates then picks for Tony Perkins. Tony Perkins gets a pick from Mark. Tony Perkins has an open lane because Mark's guy has to follow him. Tony's guy is behind him on his butt. Tony drives in, misses a shot, but none of the Alabama players can dive in for a rebound because they're covering shooters. Tony gets his own rebound. Trent Pierce runs outside to the three-point line. Tony gives it to him. Pierce hits a three. I know it's a lot of me talking kind of crap right there, but the point being is that like the entire play, if you're watching, no one can help off their man. And that's where the motion works. If we're talking about motion offense, I feel like you have to have at least 4 players who can shoot. Without that, why are we running this?
Well, the thing,
and why are you building a roster that can't do this?
The motion, like it feels like a contradiction to me sometimes because just I don't know. Like I grew up watching like just the more like old school NBA stuff. It feels like a contradiction to me that this like motion shooter offense would lead to as many free throws as we have, right? But like we've been top 3 in the country in free throws multiple years in a row. So this motion is not just to get these open shots. No, it's to create the space to allow the drives. Yeah, exactly.
And that's the threat.
Yeah.
The threat
we were talking about Tony Perkins earlier.
And the drive, yeah.
And that threat is what allows those spaces for the drives that lead to the free throws and stuff.
Yes.
And this year it feels like they're clogging the lane. Mark is just going Superman half the time. But like, what more? What am I gonna do? Shout out our guy Ian hopping in the chat.
Also, look at this.
Welcome back, brother.
5-minute mark. Who's on the floor? Ant, Grill, Pierce, Cruz, and Mark Mitchell. Mark Mitchell just gets a drive at will. Every time he drives, it's one-on-one, and when someone comes in, he passes it to an open three-point shooter. So,
good luck stopping Mark one-on-one.
Why is build that roster again instead of hoping on people who have been average shooters also shooting better? Which, the one thing that Gates crew sells themselves as is people who help people shoot better, but it's like you need a canvas to work off. Okay, here's an example. Do you feel like Seb Mack should have been sat the entire first half? What is that about? Because boy, didn't we need someone who could be active. That was crazy to me. Stone's already hurt. Why we can't just sit Mack an entire half? Like
we banged and we sat him. We sat him the second half against Notre Dame too, right? He only played 3 or 4 minutes, I think, in the second half. When it all fell up, I mean, obviously we had a huge comeback, but then it fell apart again. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
It's feeling like one of those weird things where like, we just see it. We might see it as like Dennis just doesn't like this dude. In reality, there's probably a ton of stuff behind the scenes that we don't understand. But one of those things might be that like Dennis doesn't think he fits what he's trying to do. I don't know that.
But we're not doing anything. So what?
I know. That's what I'm saying. No. My follow up was going to be like, but like, does Dennis really know what's best at this point on offense? Like,
No.
I think it's fair to ask at least.
Like, could Aaron Rowe hit a three? I know you're sitting him, you're redshirting him, he's not ready to play, but it's like, could Aaron Rowe hit a three? Maybe Aaron Rowe should be out there. You know, like, it's like,
you get into the weeds of the whataboutism and
yeah.
all that. And
Yeah, of course.
I agree. It's a hard road to go
So
down.
bigger question: is this team making the tournament?
No, I would.
If it's
no.
playing like this, no.
No, throw a line out there, and I'll take a no right now.
Mike and I have had this Mike and I had this conversation when we were 5-0, 6-0, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I don't think our ceiling is very high. Like our ceiling is being like maybe like that's like 30 to 35, like
Yeah.
best team in the country.
Which
and
is fair.
I think our floor is not like way below that. Like I don't think we're that low. I don't think we're that bad. I think we're. I don't want to overreact too much. Like I still think we are a very, very, very solid basketball team. I just don't see a ton of SEC wins. I'm not saying I don't see wins. I'm saying I don't see a ton
Not
of
enough.
SEC wins.
And
Not enough
that's
SEC
the problem
wins.
with this schedule.
Yes, because
a
now
gauntlet.
we
A
better
gauntlet.
beat Illinois,
You
or you
have
can
to. You have
basically
to.
kiss those chances
'Cause
goodbye.
we
Because
got-
we're
we
not
got-
running any
What's
3-month stretch.
we get bopped by the two teams that have actually played legitimate non-conference schedules.
See,
Wake up. Like
30 seconds.
We also had a
tangent
lead
after
with
you.
4 minutes left against Notre Dame. You know what I mean? It's like I don't I don't know. Like we can causation, correlate, whatever. Like
go Mike.
No, I'll let you finish.
I was gonna say, like, you can't expose your weaknesses. I mean, what's funny is that the non-cons still expose the weaknesses, but you couldn't truly get it figured out until you played these Notre Dame Kansas games, and then it went bad fast. And yes, we were up against Notre Dame, but Notre Dame actually knew what it would take to get back. And you could argue that at that time the Mizzou basketball team got scared at the end of that Notre Dame game, and then it got scared in the Kansas game. And it's like it's
Good
deer in
argument.
the headlights.
I don't want to overreact. We had an 11-0 run in the second half on the road against a team that played a tough non-conference schedule. We had an 11-0 run to retake the lead in the second half in their building. All right? There were a few minutes there at the end that obviously I ranted about plenty on Friday. But overall, it's like, man, we pull that game out. You know, how different is the conversation? I don't want it to be just about the wins and losses. Like, and I think we showed some guts there. I didn't like the way we did it at the end of Notre Dame, but the second half against Kansas was comprehensively bad. Everything from the under 4 timeout in the first half through the end of the game was pretty bad, or at least until the game got so far out of hand that it didn't matter.
Mike, what's your 30 seconds?
Pretty much exactly what you were saying about the schedule, about figuring it out. At some point, I would like to believe someone inside the Mizzou athletic department is at least throwing a dart out there at these meetings. And how I don't understand how colleges do their schedule. I'm fully aware that they have to do them years and out. They have, deals home and away.
It feels like college basketball figures it out much closer. Like they'll change things into the next year constantly.
There's more flexibility.
Yeah, there's definitely more flexibility.
Yeah, like I'm sure there's the, you grease my wheel, I grease your track. I'm sure there's all sorts of stuff. But
Those are the phrases we come for, baby.
at the end of the day,
That's how babies are made.
this was brought to my attention as well. You play these cupcake schedules, and everyone who, is on the Reddit and the Twitter sphere is like, oh, Gates, got it. We got into the tournament. What about Kim Anderson? Rah, 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 rah. That's fine. You get bounced against Princeton, who I respect in the Ivy League. I lose my FanDuel account. You get bounced against Drake, which I have a lot of respect for as both mid-major programs, not
Loses
bashing
his
them.
DraftKings account.
Shout out, they let me play. But you still can't take. I don't know. At some, I would love to see them in a bigger tournament. I don't think. You go look at all the predictive stuff and see who is making it at the 7, 8, 9, 10 team right now, and I'm looking at a list, and I'm like, we don't beat 75% of these teams.
Yep.
Like
But
we don't.
Part
Like,
of that's
look,
also the
I just-
changing landscape of college basketball.
So we'll just go through it right now. This is I've been saying this my father's been saying, we've been saying this for a long time. Play St. Louis University in basketball.
I don't have a problem with that for the record, but like,
No, don't play SLU. It's not
Play
worth it.
SLU would beat us right now.
There's plenty of other teams you can play. It's bad optics. You either beat SLU and you get nothing, or you lose to SLU and it looks really
I
bad.
agree.
Just play
I
other
agree.
teams outside the state. It's
You sound like Bill Self right now.
No. So
Not you, Julian, but yeah, continue.
I'm saying you can play a plenty hard schedule and not schedule SLU. It's
I would
just
just
not,
like to
it's
play
not worth it.
I get
I
it,
know
yeah.
you do. You St. Louis boy, but
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
I'm not hearing.
What
Kansas
high
City
school did you
asking
go
us
to?
Play. I'm not like play UMKC cowards. Like I'm like,
No, please, no, seriously, don't.
isn't the hold on UMK, is that Gig'em Ruse or something like
Yeah,
that?
that's the ruse, baby.
woo roos, woo roos.
Oh,
we have
woo.
a UMKC rooster in the household right now, so we would know.
But
Look, here's the
anywho,
thing.
There's just something the correlation, like you played the cupcake schedule, you know you're going to get in at a 7, 8, 9, maybe a 2 when you go off. But when you play these mid-major programs that are extremely well-rounded, they are highly their coaching's going to blow ours out of the water right now. The variance is there to get beat at the end of the day. And we've seen it.
Look,
I will give the accolades to Gates for making the tournament, which is tremendous. That is a big accomplishment. Ultimate Dance, Field of 64, love it. But I'm not hanging my hat on making the tournament and getting bounced against Princeton and then getting bounced against Drake.
now look, especially with the winless conference season, they'll always hang over your neck until you do something like get past the Sweet 16. So I think,
Yeah, I'll digress.
I think there's two things to consider. One, the rest of this season, which is for them to make the tournament. One, beating Illinois would be a really big deal. If they don't beat Illinois, it becomes, God, we have to have an amazing conference season, which starts rough, which it has the chance to not start great, which then leads to basically the team kind of giving up. But it needs to have Stone coming back ready to go immediately, which you could argue kind of happened when Grill got hurt that early last year, but we still beat Kansas without Grill. Two, it requires someone who has not yet made a jump to make a jump, and you're starting to run out of season for guys to all of a sudden make a leap. Like, you just generally don't see guys outside of rare cases all of a sudden make a random leap in conference play. So,
Especially with injuries and everything. Like, yeah.
True.
like with Arkansas, I think about Arkansas last year, which they did pretty well in NotCon. They then lost the first like 8 games or something in SC play, and then turned around and made the tournament. And their biggest thing was one of their players got hurt, who ruined spacing, but was a good player, and then all the other players played better because the court changed. It's like, I don't know. Like, at some point, I'm waiting for some seismic shift. I'm honestly waiting for Gates to stop starting Sean Phillips, and do Porter at the 5, something like that. If you really want to play Porter, or just do like Mark at the 5. I honestly think the more I think about it, the Trent Pierce injury is pretty big, because what really unlocked the team was Trent playing the 5 on D, but then being able to shoot. And Northweather just isn't Pierce. He just isn't.
No,
And-
he's great value.
Yes.
Pierce.
But it's.
No, it's,
But and that comes down to roster construction for him, which then I think about the next year, because I don't think in any way it's
how many
Gates'
of those
job.
guys can you have? Like,
I don't really think in any way Gates is like on the hot, like he's gonna get fired really in any way this season.
no.
Next year, you can tell how they realize this and are fixing it. Aiden Chronister, sharpshooter recruit. Jason Crow, hell of a scorer, and then Tony Bryant's your Mark Mitchell replacement.
He knows.
They like this portal season. I don't want to talk about the season was already thrown away. But when we're thinking about fixing this and this never happening again, next portal season they got to be willing to spend, because if you read the tea leaves, the previous 2 portal seasons they just didn't want to spend the money, which is how you ended up with Sean Phillips, which is how you ended up with
and
Mac.
Yeah, that's your best option. And
The portal
if
market's
that's-
hard. It's expensive.
yeah, who do you think we are? You know what I mean? Those aren't like names to like scoff at. Like,
I'm not saying their names to scoff at. What I'm saying is you didn't build the roster that made your 2 best players shine. And that is a problem. So now
it's
this
also
is the
still
result.
early. We've only played 2, like, okay, Minnesota, like 3 decent teams this year. There's still time. So, Julian, answer your own question. Do you think they make the tournament?
We've
Been talking next season, all this stuff.
Not the way they're playing right now. No.
That's a cop-out answer.
It's not a cop-out
Do
answer.
they
They're
get
not
it
making the
together?
tournament.
Do they start playing better? What do you think? Do you think they have
I'm
it in them? Do you
worried
think they
because
do it?
I'm worried because I think the non-conference season really ruined this. And losing to Notre Dame and losing to Kansas by the amount we lost to them, and it wasn't even a close loss. It was a 20-point beating.
Yeah.
And so like
it was a landslide victory.
So no,
you know,
I
Sean
don't think we
Murphy.
make the tournament because I'm not even sure. Because actually, I think the thing that gets me is Pierce is even practicing right now, and I think when he eventually comes back, I don't know if he's going to play well because his hips are these hips lie. What's
his
I knew you were coming
So,
up
like,
with something back there.
what's his
and I think
official?
without
lie.
Pierce, I don't think this team can reach the level it needs to reach to make up ground. It's not even like winning the games, it's to make up the ground to get into the tournament.
You're talking about to echo your point about making up ground. You're literally, to get on your resume a non-con win, have to beat Illinois, and then
Yep.
you're looking at Florida, Kentucky, Ole Miss, Auburn, LSU, Georgia.
If we lose to Illinois and we lose bad, which is very much a possibility,
Yeah,
we basically have to win out the first like 5 games in the SEC to look good to fix it. Because you can't because last season we entered the SEC and we went, if you can just break even, you
yeah.
get into the
That's all you
tournament.
needed to
That is
do.
not the case. And
No.
yes, the SEC is not as good as it was last year. It's still good. And so
It's
that
still the
means you're-
best. It's still the best. It's just down.
Yeah.
It's still the best out there. Like
So it's like
there's others that are good, but I get what you're saying.
the problems are so clear.
Yeah,
And
there's a realm of possibility that Mizzou wins 5 conference games.
Yeah, I could see a world where they win 4. I also think they will win. Gosh dang it, 6-7, 6-7. He does it again.
It makes
I don't
the-
think it's gonna be that bad, but I could see a world where they win 4 easily.
The Florida Kentucky game are going to be tough. Playing at Ole Miss with how they're playing is going to be tough. Then you get Auburn at home, LSU, that's going to be a real close, analytical type of game where we're right in the 50s right now. So that turns that LSU game into a must win in my book.
On the road,
It's time for Gates. I mean, I gotta close up shop here in a minute. So the thing I want to say is, it's time to Gates and coaching staff to show their coaches and coach these guys up and fix it, because something's got to change with how they're doing things. It's not working right now, and I don't think forcing a square peg into a round hole is going to fit anymore. Stop trying to make Sean Phillips a star scoring center. Stop trying to make Javon Porter a legitimate 4 in D1. Because there were bright spots when the length was starting to work, and you could see where it's like, man, this defense with how the reach everyone has could be extremely disruptive. But right now it's not happening. And so, and unless this team becomes a defensive powerhouse and can make up for the offense of just a grinding defense, then we got to change offensive philosophies and change lineups. I honestly don't think Mark Mitchell and Sean Phillips should play at the same time. Or in a way where, if you're going to play Mark Mitchell and Sean Phillips at the same time, you got to have 3 shooters on the floor. It's got, there could not be a construction of this roster that has that does not have 3 shooters on the floor with Sean and Mark, or else this is going to be a bonanza. And I know we want to show that high-low action, but half the times the passes, guys are too afraid to make the pass. If they do, Sean Phillips can't finish it. Not at the degree that makes it worth it. And you know what they're doing? You know what they did for Badunga at Kansas? They ran the exact same sort of pick and roll that led to a nice lob attempt. Where there's no lob attempts for Sean Phillips. This guy who's supposed to be able to jump higher than anyone else in the freaky
look,
league.
we know we can jump, but we don't
There's-
run plays that show it. That's the problem.
So it's there is a balance of coaching guys up on a part of their skill set that is weaker and making it more refined, and there's a part of doing that what your player is good at. And I think that the pitch Gates likes to have is, we help refine the parts of your game you want to make better, so you can go make this into a job, which is not just going to NBA, but it's going to EuroLeague or something like that. But also you got to win games. And that means you need to set up Max so he can get some pick and rolls. You need to not force Sean Phillips to do things that he's not ready to do yet. You got to put some shooters around Mark. Any other last thoughts for you guys?
Yes. I never gave my prediction for whether or not we make the tournament. So, yes, the Mizzou Tigers will make the tournament.
You just want to be opposite.
We are gonna come. We are gonna come in hot. We're gonna beat Illinois. We're going to Columbia. Or we're gonna beat Florida. We're gonna go to Lexington. We're gonna take Kentucky. And we're gonna lose to Ole Miss. But then we're gonna beat Auburn. I think if we have a good stretch, I think we need to beat Illinois, get on a good run there, win like 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 5, going through like the beginning of conference play. Get on a good track. Get back in people's minds. Get a winning record in the SEC, even if it's only for a couple of weeks. Beat Illinois, and start to figure out this offense, because you said the way they're playing, they will not make the tournament. I don't think anyone would disagree with you on that. But here's the beauty of a season: you get to adjust. You get to get better if you want to, if you care.
I am the guy who in group texts will always say there's a lot of game left, or there's a lot of season left. I try to be a rational, thoughtful actor when it comes to my team. At the same time, I have not seen it yet. There's not a single game, even with Stoneman, I have not seen a game where this team is playing the way that's going to get them into the tournament, which then makes me think it needs to be Pierce. But right now, Pierce isn't practicing, and it's a hip issue.
That is troubling.
And that is troubling. And apparently Burns is not ready to go because they won't give him more than 2 minutes. And Burns apparently can shoot, but he can't play. He's not allowed to play. And
play 2 minutes.
And then when guys who need to at least try to shoot get the ball, they're not shooting anymore.
Fucking chair.
The 3 times, I can remember clearly in my mind where Tio got the ball, open 3, and did not shoot it.
Mike's chair is the Mizzou offense, right?
The air just went out of this goddamn thing.
No, Julian, you're absolutely right, and it is like very, very concerning to me that like I'm starting to become increasingly worried about the Pierce situation.
I know for a fact if I had said I think they're making the tournament, you would have said they're not making the tournament because you just want to be opposite of me, Curtis. Okay?
That's not true.
Yeah,
I'm just a
don't lie to
moron, and
yourself.
I operate strictly on vibes, baby.
All right.
You know?
Well,
Good times only.
that is the Circle of Podcasts. We're gonna play Alabama State on Thursday, and we'll crush them, and we'll pod about it on Thursday.
Most famous Alabama State alum. Guesses, anybody?
I'm not doing this.
Guesses, anybody?
Hold on. Is he or she in a movie?
They've been portrayed in a movie. They were not in a movie.
I have a name, but I don't think I could say it on air.
Okay, that's even more concerning. That's not the point of this.
Yikes.
It's Rosa Parks, okay? Sorry. Thought that would be a fun little history lesson.
That wasn't who I was thinking.
I thought Julian would. Rosa Parks or Lil Yachty. You guys can take your pick on who was the more influential person who went to Alabama State.
Julian's face.
He's a history teacher, and he didn't know that. So come on.
The thing I hate the most is when people ask obscure history questions. Go, how do you not know that? As if I'm supposed to know every single thing that's ever happened in history ever.
Because
Every minute
we
detail.
know you were the guy at the party
taught world
sharing
history.
obscure history
I
sets.
can give you general historical theory over thousands of years. I don't know the Alabama State alum. I'm sorry that I failed you in this way. This is
Stop taking it so personally,
failed
man. I'm
history
trying
teacher.
to educate. I'm trying to educate our listeners here. Okay.
Signing
And
off.
also 2 Chainz, but I got me a new one, MIZ. He also went to Alabama State.
Ooh,
That's all I got.
that's a good
MIZ.
one.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for coming to watch again. Check us out on Thursday. We'll go live again, hopefully around 8 o'clock, because it all depends when our children go to bed. But thanks for watching. Check us on the socials. You can listen to it again if you want to support us. Just let's play the podcast over and over again on repeat on your phone while you're working.
Yeah,
or something.
get that up. Shout out Brody in the chat.
Glenn, Brody,
shout out everyone
in the
chat.
chat,
Shout out
everyone in the
Glenn.
chat who showed up. Thank you so much.
Again, Ian just got back from Amsterdam, I think, and he was in here. So yeah, we appreciate y'all.
Yeah,
Bam. Amster. All right, bye.